What is up, everybody? Welcome to Statistically Speaking, a UteNation Podcast. My name is Ivan, otherwise known as Ute Fan Ivan. I am honored to be joined today by my friends Matt, Joe, and Dustin. And for our first section today, we're going to be talking about the UCLA game this last Saturday. Why don't we start with Joe real quick? Because you and I are both going to be catching a lot of flack.
Don't start with me.
Joe and I were both a little too confident in UCLA last week, I think. So why don't we start there? And then Dustin and Matt can get in with the roast session they surely have ready for us. So.
Been looking forward to it.
We can take our victory lap at the end.
I got to come and put the afterburners on for sure. I thought this was going to be a tight game with a home field advantage for the UCLA Bruins. And it turned out not to be a tight game at all. It was a snoozer from the beginning. Utes dominated wire to wire. Very, very impressive performance. I love to look at what I call non-dependent rate stats. So stats that it doesn't matter about the situation that the team is in. So an example of a dependent rate stat would be like third down efficiency, right? A third down efficient team, a lot of times they're really good on first down or second down, and that's why they're good at third down conversions. So these are the basic stats. This is yards per pass, yards per rush, your really, really simple stats. And that's what I look to. I try to ignore things like turnovers, large plays, all those swing things. And when you do that and you take all of that extra stuff away, you saw an extremely dominant performance from the Utes. More than doubled their opponent's total yards. Yards per play was off the chart. Yards per pass was a big advantage. Yards per rush, over 5 yards per carry. Against a legitimate team with a lot of legitimate players. And I just couldn't have been more wrong. I couldn't have been more wrong about this team and how ready they were to play. And I think I was pretty wrong about UCLA too, because they didn't look like they ever got off the bus.
Yeah.
I'll just say this. 3 words. Utah offensive line. Oh my heavens. I tweeted during the game. There were 2 moments that were just incredible. And one of them, I said, that just made me pregnant. I literally it's been so long since I've watched Utah football and felt just ecstatic. You know what I mean? So
his registry's on thebump.com, everybody. So head on over.
Yeah, we talked about it last week. The offensive line is definitely the strength of this team. I mentioned I was nervous about Dampier. He looked really good. There are some things that he needs to clean up, but certainly, that's an A+ performance out of him. But Utah had more rushing yards than UCLA had total yards. Kyle's going to want to run the ball all year behind that offensive line, and Beck called a great game. He gave them the opportunity to put Utah in a position to be successful with the run game. And when the run game wasn't working great, they were super successful in the passing game, both short and long. There's some good long passes and just looked really good in all facets on the offensive side. On the defense, there were a couple of scary moments, some missed coverages, some open receivers that Nico just completely overthrew. So I'm glad Nico was what Matt thought he was, because he wasn't very good. It wasn't very good. 50% completion, a turnover, overthrowing a lot of guys that were open, but Utah's defense got a ton of pressure on him, which helped. So my big concern on the defensive side was the defensive line, and they looked really good.
They did. I regret being as confident in Nico as I was. I definitely thought that he was going to come out. I still think there were moments where he ran the ball or scrambled out of the pocket really well. He's definitely got that athleticism. In fact, I would say I still think that he has a good chance of being not like an incredible, quarterback this year. But I definitely think with some adjustments and maybe just getting more, he didn't practice in spring with them. I definitely think he still could be good He just needs to get his accuracy down, and he'll be something special, in my opinion. But
I think, and he won't figure that out until he can figure out how to handle pressure, and you can see that in this game. And yeah, it's too bad. But I got to tell you, my favorite stat, the number 88%. Anybody know what that goes to? What that's tied to?
That was Devin's completion percentage.
Yes. And there was two 88% things. Dampier was very accurate because he was taking safe passes, good short passes. But the other 88% that I love was third down conversion. So those two things, because Utah was so bad on third downs last season, and now that's not going to continue. They're not going to, they're not going to be 88%, but they could be in the 40s. And the reason why is there's so many weapons, and you don't know who's going to get the ball. And I love two things. I love how Devin Dampier looks for the hole, and he just climbs down in there, and he just gets those yards. And Wayshawn Parker does the same thing. He's patient, but not to a fault. He's patient, sees the hole, and boom, goes right through the hole. And those things, it's so hard to stop a team on third down. And then when you have other guys like Smith Snowden and Lander Barton, defensive guys that are just strong and powerful, it's going to be really hard to stop Utah from converting a third down this season. I don't care what team you are. That's just tough to stop on third and short.
None of this makes sense to me. Sorry, Joe, give me 1 second.
Yes.
All I've heard in the offseason is Devin Dampier's a Mountain West quarterback. He's not going to adjust to, he can't, he's not going to be able to run as much. He's not going to. 12 and 12, 12 and 12. 12 and 12. That's all I heard all offseason. And seeing this was so vindicating for me because I'm like, there he is. Give him the tools he needs. And look what he can do. And it's only going to get better, in my opinion.
The stars aligned, though, right? He got to keep his offensive coordinator. We talked about this last week. Got to keep his offensive coordinator. Got one of the best offensive lines in the country and has weapons around him. And the Utes coaching staff has found other guys to do that. And that's why they had to bring some over. You could see that.
This is the picture of a Utah passing game, and the offense is coming. I'm reminded of this stat line looks a lot. And I'm not comparing the quarterbacks. Like I don't have the caliber of film review to do that anyway. But the stat line reminds me of a Tyler Huntley type performance when the Utes were at their absolute best. It is a very, very high efficiency performance. So the kinds of numbers that somebody like me loves is, yards per pass, completion percentage. How many wasted plays did you have? When you put the ball in the quarterback's hands, how often does that play go nowhere? And there were only 4 times that Devin Dampier wasn't able to do something with the ball and move that ball forward. And that's just an exceptional kind of performance, given that Utah is always going to base their performance around moving the line and creating space. The passing game is always going to be the constraint for the defense. It's always going to be the pressure that gets put on them so that they can't just crowd up front and that will allow the running game to have just a little bit of space, and that's all that they need. That's sort of the philosophy behind Utah football. And when you see this kind of performance with low usage, less than 30 attempts, but tons of completions and very high per pass yardage, that's just a perfect recipe. And sometimes it can frustrate Utah fans, I think, because you see the quarterback performing really well, but you don't often hear about it in a national sense or see it on ESPN because it's a little bit dink and dunk, and the total stats, it's 2 touchdowns, it's 206 yards. That's not going to be on ESPN top 10, but it's still an exceptional performance and gives the team exactly what they need to just have their way and just be completely in control of the game from the beginning to end.
Did you guys see who interviewed Devin today, by the way? It was the Heisman.
He was like number 6 on a Heisman odds list, which
wow.
You can research, you can do the stats on winning the Heisman, and I will spoil all Ute fans' hopes. There's no Ute who's going to win the Heisman. You have to play for a top 4 team. You have to score 40 plus touchdowns, and that's just not how the Utes are built. But it's awesome to see his name in the lights.
So cool.
I will say Joe, you're 100% right. Utah players, Utah quarterbacks don't oftentimes get a bunch of ESPN talk, a bunch of ESPN promotion, because it's a lot of, 7-yard passes, a lot of yards after catch. Dampier's a different situation here. I've heard multiple ESPN talking heads compare him to Kyler Murray. I heard it twice this weekend.
I've recently been wrong, so I'm going to be wrong again. I think we're kind of done, but I can't stop. Before we say, Matt, you nailed this. You called this game. You saw it coming, and we're not worried.
Even Matt, I think, Matt gave UCLA too much credit. Didn't you say 13?
Yeah. I gave him 13. I said 38-13. Yeah. I probably spent way too much time researching UCLA. I mean, now I'm still like, I know all this stuff, but it doesn't matter anymore. I don't need to know. But it was really more just I knew UCLA wasn't that good of a team. That was the biggest factor. So I'm still tempering my expectations. Like when Utah was ranked 25, I thought, okay, that's fair enough because we still don't really know. I personally, I put out rankings and I put them at number 9, and that's just because I don't see how a team's going to be able to stop the weapons, just like I was talking about earlier. And I think UCLA is a bad team, but I don't think they're that bad. And so when I was looking at teams like Indiana that got like a 10-point win, was it over Old Dominion or something? I'm like, how in the world are they even in the top 25? They were ugly. Even South Carolina's win. So I think Utah, from what they showed, they looked like a top 10 team to me. But I might be a little, Kool-Aid goggles or whatever you want to call them.
I think they're a little hesitant because of last season. I think, that the ESPN.
And we just have a lot more to learn about UCLA. If UCLA goes on and wins, 7 or 8 games and has a strong offense and does good things, the win will start to look better, and then those efficiency numbers will look really good. But on the other hand, if UCLA continues to surrender 30-plus points to everybody, it's not going to look that special anymore. FBI wise, that's ESPN's advanced stats. That's Utah's right about there. They're in the 20s right now, which feels right to me. There's going to always be a huge gap of the top 5 or so, and that next group is more of a bunch. It's just a great heck of an opening weekend for the Utes, and a little bit of a layup here coming this week, which.
All right, you guys, that's going to end it talking about the UCLA game. Don't miss our other video that we're going to put out where we discuss the upcoming Cal Poly Utah matchup in Salt Lake City. Make sure you like and subscribe. This is Statistically Speaking, UteNation Podcast. We'll see you next time.